It is evident that there is a lot of musical ability in this congregation. About 2 years ago, maybe, my wife decided that she wanted to learn to play the piano. And not long after she began, in the early part of the year, she sat down one evening and was playing a couple of Christmas carols, and they sounded good. And I said to her, "Honey, you sound good." She was just getting started. And she said, "Well, I know how they're supposed to sound." And I said, "So do I, but I can't sit down at the piano and play them." On Friday evening, just before we went to bed, Susan read to me the weather forecast. And when she finished, I noticed these words on her phone screen: "I have loved you with an everlasting love," which is a quote from Jeremiah, 31st chapter, part of the 3rd verse. I have loved you with an everlasting love. And those words took me by surprise. I somehow heard them differently, as a word to me from God. And then I wondered, because of the way I've been thinking and feeling lately, whether I have become like a know-it-all adolescent, complaining about and to his parents who have actually loved him all his life, but who takes them to task for not loving him because they've not given him every last thing he wants. I want peace, not war. I want food for all, not world hunger, and so on. The situation is bad, even very bad, in this country and beyond. And I'm tired of it. Where exactly is the everlasting love? Yes, I know the cross, but God is more patient than I think God ought to be. And then, I guess yesterday morning, I also remembered Jeremiah's complaint earlier in his book, where he writes, "For the word of the Lord has become for me a reproach and a derision all day long. If I say I will not mention him or speak any more in his name, then within me there is something like a burning fire shut up in my bones. I am weary with holding it in, and I cannot." I'm with Jeremiah when people say to me after worship, as they have in some places, "I didn't come to church to hear that. Your sermon was too political. You preached to the left today." Or when even about 10 of them didn't wait till the end of the service, but simply walked out en masse in the midst of the sermon. When if I had been really on top of it, I would have said, maybe, "I hope you have enough stalls in your bathrooms here to accommodate all these people who suddenly have to go." But I didn't think about that until later. So this is one way to express the dilemma that I feel. When the words on Susan's phone bring me closer to tears than usually happens in these days that tend toward hard-heartedness, am I no longer believing the steadfast love of God for me and for all? Or am I truly with Jeremiah, unable to hold within the prophetic word that I would perhaps rather not say to God's people? God's people who would perhaps rather not hear, or rather that I didn't say to them the prophetic word that is at once hard to say and hard to hear. Maybe I'm somehow both, like Jeremiah, who wrote both of those quotes that I shared with you. And lately, I face this dilemma every time I write a sermon. I don't have to do this. On the other hand, I have to do this. Both statements are true. When I was a senior at seminary, someone came in and said to us one day, "Don't do this. That is, don't go into the ministry unless you can't not do it." So here I go again, another time. Grace to you and peace from God our Father and from our Lord